Hello and welcome to this demo. Today we're going to talk about Centrify Privilege Service workflow. One of the benefits of the Centrify Identity Platform is that we make releases every month. And as of the end of this month, with the release of Platform 15.10, all the assets are related to Centrify Identity Service, including CPS, are going to get workflow. So in this demo, I want to show you how simple we've made workflow work for you. It starts with the user experience, right? So I have two users right now. I have Diana, and I also have Fred. I'm using Chrome for Fred and Safari for Diana, just to have two users. The experience starts with, notice that I have a blurring of my servers and my applications. This user happens to be using Office 365, and as you know, the Centrify Identity Platform is a full-fledged IDaaS, and you don't need to deploy ADFS or DIRSync or do dual management because we take care of all that for you. It all starts with requests, right? So our user is going to go to the privilege service in this case, and there's going to be a set of resources available. In this case, those resources have accounts. Notice that I have a list of Windows resources and accounts in Unix resources. Let's pick on this Solaris 10 machine, right? So if I needed to request access to this machine, notice that I have login request or password checkout. If the machine breaks and goes into single user mode, I may have to actually see the password. But in this case, this machine is actually working fine. Perhaps I want to request a login because I have a change control. Maybe you want to give the administrator a reference. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? So what's going to happen is this. First and foremost, the user, the administrator, is going to have a request tab. And by the way, you don't have to be a full administrator to approve requests. You can just basically be an approver. But the key here is that my user is going to get an email. Notice that I got an email from Centrify Workflow, and I can go and view the request. If I had gone to the actual requests tab here, I would have been able to see the request as well. So if I do view request, it's going to take me to the same place, right? So when I go back to the request, I could just basically look at the request and see, notice that I have a reference and everything. Everything looks fine for me, and I can just approve it, right? When I approve it, I have the option to grant permanent permission or temporary permission. In this case, I can say, you know what? I'm going to give you permission for 5 minutes. Not very practical, but I'm just going to do it real quick. So I'm going to go ahead and submit that. Once I have that, my user is going to be able to look at the request and see, hey, your request has been approved. The user is also going to get an email as well. But I'm going to go back to my accounts, and in this case was the Solaris machine. So I'm going to right click and notice that I have the login enabled, right? So I can log in. At that point, I'm going to be logged in as root in my Solaris machine. And the additional benefit to that is, like we've done before in many demos, is that the administrator has the proctoring capability, right? So if the user goes to Privilege Manager here and goes to the workspace, notice that I have that checkout all going on. I can do a watch. So everything that the user does here is going to be viewable in the administrator window as well. So think about maybe you're proctoring a consultant that is helping you out. In addition, we have the ability to terminate, right? So what's going to happen is if I don't like what Fred is doing, I can just go and do a termination of the session, and that's going to be it. In addition, remember, we also have this tied to our direct audit capability. What that means is, I'm already also auditing to do session capture and replay. So that's the feature that we have for workflow. It's also part of the actual platform. So, for example, I actually also have an account that does Twitter, right? So I have, if I go in here, you'll see that I have this Twitter account for Centrifying. One of the things that I've done is that I've vaulted the password in there because I don't want anybody tweeting on my behalf to be able to change the password, and if they're disgruntled, they tweet something very nasty, right? So one of the things that we added to is, because it's part of the platform, my end user can actually look and search for Twitter, right? And in this case, I can request that, and because I want to tweet on behalf of Centrifying. And I'm going to go ahead and do next. So what's going to happen here, same cadence, right? The administrator is going to get an email, right? And or I can look at my requests. Notice that now I can just approve it. And what's going to happen is once I approve that, right, my user Fred should go back to the list of apps and notice that Twitter just showed up, right? And if I click on Twitter, what's going to happen is that in this case, actually, Twitter also had multi-factor authentication built in as well. So, what we can do is launch Office 365 in this case. I don't have Fred's mobile device with me, but I can just do an email. So not only I'm also protecting the password for the Twitter account, but I'm also stopping the user from logging in without a multi-factor, right? So in here, what we'll see in Office 365 is that I'm gonna get the actual challenge coming in, and once I have that approved, I'll be able to open the Twitter account. So I'm hoping that and I just heard the actual email coming in, validation needed. Let's go ahead and approve it. Now the user is going to be assisted to log in to tweet on behalf of Centrifying. So remember, we provide workflow. It's based on the platform, not only for your apps, but also for your logging into servers, as well as checking out passwords. And I'm hoping that you enjoyed this demo.